Another episode of Insurtech UK Fireside Chats. Today I'm here with Jumar Technology. It's cloudy, it's miserable weather. It's been raining on off all day here in Newcastle, so I thought I'd put on a nice t-shirt ready for England playing tomorrow against Ukraine. So I hope you'll all be watching that. So I've got with me Mark, and then we've also got Adrian, who's the CTO, with us today as well.
Hi, John.
So first of all, Jumar Technology, obviously you've joined Insurtech UK, you're one of our members now. So how do you get into insurance? Obviously you're not from the insurance space originally.
I mean, I think Mark and I will kind of answer all these questions jointly, but I think, I joined, so Jumar has been around for a long time. I think we were formed 20 years ago. So we're a large SME, have been delivering IT services and resources into the IT industry for many years, as I said. I joined 3 years ago, and my background really was insurance and healthcare. So I worked for large SIs. I had senior kind of roles in international insurance companies. And when I joined Jumar, one of the changes I wanted to make was move us from just being a pure technology company and an engineering company to one which is heavily focused and relevant for the key industries that we serve. And one of our owners is Ship Owners Club, which is the P&I club, and a lot of our other clients that we're developing and working with are in the insurance space. So it seemed what we decided to do a couple of years ago is really focus on the insurance industry and make ourselves as relevant as possible for insurance, and that's we're on that journey. And we are, we'll talk about it today, developing our own IP and our own product to really support the needs of the insurance industry. Okay, great.
Mark, do you have anything to add to that? Or?
Yeah, as Adrian said, we tend to focus now our attention on financial services and insurance as a vertical. We've had some good success stories in that area. And we are now making sure that our products and services are focused there, and we're providing a lot of value. There's a lot of old applications that typically sit in the insurance market, which have been used for a number of years, and we're looking at the next generation insurance applications to really reshape the industry.
That's great to hear. Anyone who wants to reshape this industry is more than welcome. So is that why you joined Insurtech UK as a partner then?
Yes, so basically what we're trying to do is get more visibility of Jumar as the brand, and get more people to have a look at the value that we offer.
That's great. So we've obviously got a lot of members from a lot of different spaces, so I think there's a lot to learn from our members and our associate members. So obviously you talk about you were obviously in the wider financial services space and you worked for other sectors. What's it like coming to work in insurance? And obviously, Adrian, you worked in insurance previously, but when you've come in, it's a very different sector in insurance to finance in general. What's been the challenges for you?
Yeah, I think it's a really exciting industry to work in. I think insurance was one of the first industries to really take on technology, back 50 years ago when mainframes were first coming out. And because, at that time, insurance was a, early mover, if you like, if you can use a modern phrase, they also have a huge wealth of legacy, legacy systems, a complexity of systems. And I think that for me, the biggest challenge in insurance, which is possibly unique, is, the need to support closed books, for example, over many, many years means that if you look at any insurance companies, they will have systems dating back 30, 40 years, which they can't turn off because they're still holding closed book insurance policies that they have to administer claims for or whatever. So I think that's, for me, is the challenge in insurance. It's a really complicated technology sort of landscape that they've developed. And they have to support, but also the challenges, the business challenges are there. We know the competitors have come into the market. We know that the way that brokers and disintermediation and all this has changed the market. The need to compete, the need to drive down costs, the regulations that have also kind of driven down costs. So both, struggling with really difficult technology challenges, as well as having to really respond to market changes and regulatory changes, I think means insurance is a really exciting place to work, but a challenging one, and one where, more people, frankly, need to kind of focus their energies on, because I think there's a lot of opportunity and a lot to be done.
Yeah, I think I have to agree on that one. There's a lot of companies obviously trying to want to work in that new cutting edge space and talking about they call a REST API cutting edge actually, but talking about AI and everything like this. But actually, they've got systems that are 25 years old that they're paying a consultant for the last 15 years just to manage it, because there's only one man in the world who knows it. And I think they need to start walking before they can run. But no, definitely, I think that's the biggest challenge for anyone who tries to get into this sector is there is a lot of legacy platforms there that just can't be turned off, whether it's because of claims or the data can't be removed. And it makes it hard for us to integrate with those insurance partners, especially when there is an appetite there.
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously ignoring these challenges, and we have to get over them. We have to work with those partners and those insurers to find a way to connect with them. So what are you bringing what's your first product that you brought to the insurance market then?
I think the first product is something that we're calling the risk management platform, and really its vision is to help insurance companies really understand the risks on their books, and to kind of proactively manage those risks and kind of remedial actions and how to mitigate those risks at one level, but also to price things right, and to understand which business they will take on, which business they won't take on. So at the heart of it, it's that vision of bringing a coherent view of the kind of risk profile of a company, and to be able to drill down to individual physical item. So it's very much geared at the kind of general insurance side of the market. And the reason we focused on this particular issue was one of our key clients is a P&I club called Ship Owners, and they were starting a project of modernizing their loss prevention activities. And it's a really important part of what the P&I clubs do, which is to help their members really manage their ships better and to reduce claims. But also because being mutuals, the importance of taking on a new member and ensuring that member is going to be compliant with kind of club rules, etc., etc. So it's a really important aspect to what P&I clubs need to do, and that gave us really the driver to look at to look at loss prevention, understanding the needs of surveyors, understanding the needs of the loss prevention department in terms of analysing their risks, and it grew from there. So once you have the concept of risks, we need to understand claims and claims histories. Once you understand claims histories, you need to understand policies. You need to understand the needs of the underwriters. So it really grew from a loss prevention view of the world, where now I'm going to talk about more on this chat. But from that kernel came the kind of concept of a wider sort of data platform.
And that's something you host and manage for these insurers and these PI schemes?
Yes, one of the early technology decisions that we made was to build it on Microsoft's Dynamics platform. So it's a hosted platform. It's a low-code platform, so it's really efficient to customize it for particular processes or particular data capture needs that the different customers have. So it's fully hosted. It's provided as a solution that can be readily integrated into the existing ecosystem. For example, if you look at the underwriting function, changing your underwriting policy, underwriting administration system is a massive undertaking. We are talking to one client who's planning to do that, but for most people, it's about integration. It's integrating our platform into their existing underwriting platform, and the fact that we have got the out of the box definitions of policies, etc., means that we can easily do that integration, especially using the technology that Azure gives us in terms of service buses and other data integration tools, etc., etc.
And we've had a history also, just to jump in here, we've had a history of doing a lot of legacy modernization projects with some really big companies like Zurich North America, for example. So we've been doing that for the mainframe market for a number of years.
That's right.
just jumping onto what you said about the standard policy object, that's something we're really keen on. So we're currently looking at how we can actually get all of our members sign up to a scheme where actually we all agree on a common policy, whether it's a motor or a home or even a container ship out in the North Sea. And that actually the fundamentals are the same. Obviously, you might have the branches and the offshoots are different, but actually a policy is pretty, it has a start date and effective date. It has its status, and that's something I think that right now there's everyone has their own schema, and I think if we can start getting people to talk the same language, then it makes these integrations much easier. So when you go to a partner, everyone knows we're working off the same hymn sheet, and it makes everyone's life a little bit easier. There's still adaptations to make as you get the custom objects, but a policy is a policy, is a claim a claim. So it's great to hear people talking about the standardization.
Yeah, I mean, that's really exciting to hear. That, you know, we would be really excited to kind of share our thoughts on schema and consolidation during that kind of standardization activity, because you're right, it's absolutely fundamental, and especially where we want value chains, you know, from members, brokers, insurers, reinsurers, that common definition and common data view is going to be fundamental to drive costs out of the whole industry, actually.
Exactly. We've got a whole bunch. We've got hundreds of members, partners, and associate members that are all that can all work together and help each other out. But if a policy is changing format every single time it goes from one hand to another, you're going to lose. Something's going to get lost, and it ends up becoming Chinese whispers. And so if we can all agree in a common format, then it means that we can all work together much easier. So that's something that we're looking at in Insurtech UK over the next 6 months, getting members sign up for. So definitely we'll get you involved in that and get Jumar involved. You talk about obviously integrating those with those legacy platforms. How have you found that so far? Integrating with partners, with obviously you've got your Microsoft platform. Are partners insurers willing to listen and do things your way?
It's funny because it's every conversation has this challenge, and I think sometimes things are luckier than others, if that makes sense. I was in a conversation with a client on Wednesday, just 2 days ago, and we were talking about, you know, they've got a wider Dynamics ecosystem. So our product's based on Dynamics, and they've got a wider Dynamics ecosystem. So at one level, that's a tremendous opportunity. At another level, it causes us some problems because they've already defined their own policy definition as an example, and we've got our standard one. We're talking about different options of integrating by doing transformations. But what we agreed on actually is, let's take those definitions and go for some extra pain and some extra work to actually merge them together at a logical level. You know, we will do some customization work to if we've missed aspects out of our standard definition, they'll commit to making changes from their side. And for me, that I came away, there's a bit of a champagne moment really, coming away from that meeting and saying, yeah, actually this is a great example where we've got two schemas, but everyone's prepared to invest the effort into getting to that standard place.
That's great to hear.
It's great. It is a great story, and it was a champagne moment. I think in terms of technology, these days it's relatively straightforward. Even with mainframe systems, we've got quite a depth of mainframe experience. So we're not worried about the technology side of it. I think with the Azure and other cloud providers, advanced integration technology is now a kind of utility component. But I think the hard graft in terms of logical mapping and understanding the business flows and the data flows is always going to be difficult.
Totally agree on that one.
Yeah.
It's more of a challenge of personality rather than technology, I think it gets down to.
It can be. Everyone does.
The mainframe might be there for the last 30 years, but someone also has been working on it for the last 30 years, and they're the person you've got to interact with first. So definitely agree on that one. So obviously you've come into the insurance sector. You've been obviously the finance sector and other sectors as well. So what areas do you think our members should be focusing on with your outside knowledge?
Yeah, I think one of the areas which, I mean, Jumar has done work in different sectors, including government and education, healthcare. Personally, I came from quite a large healthcare background as well. It's funny that we've been talking about, as Mark, sorry, Mark, but we've been talking about integration a lot, and healthcare has invested, many years of work in defining standard kind of messaging. HL7 in the past, now is Open EHR. There's other kind of initiatives as Fire and these sort of things. And I think in insurance, it's quite good to look at some other sectors and see how they have kind of worked on their kind of standardization efforts and actually made some mistakes. So we could look at, there's some definitely what I would call anti-patterns in what healthcare have done, as well as some really great stuff. So, I think there's definitely conversations about taking those learnings from other sectors and bringing it into insurance. I think the other area is around, actually, becoming more consumer focused. So I think we've all seen the comparison sites and what certain brokers have done to kind of really transform the way that insurance is underwritten in some areas, and it's an opportunity and a threat. But I think if you look at claims processing as a different area, I think there's that kind of new modernization, new tools, new collaboration that we can bring in to kind of change the way some of these processes are done across organizations. So
I've got to definitely agree on that one. If we look at, if we take COVID and healthcare and the way that they've worked with consumers with the app, the NHS COVID app, and the NHS app as a vaccine. Someone's calling me. I just have to decline that. Sorry. If you look at how it's worked with the COVID app, I got my second vaccine, and half hour later, an hour later, my app was updated and I could see what batch number I had. It was all there right for me, and it was a very simple process. You look at the claims experience in the insurance market from a consumer focus, and it's nothing like that. You don't get those real-time updates what somehow this big incumbent NHS has managed to achieve, whether it's through the offshoots and we're working with partners, but it's definitely something I think you're right, where there are a lot of good lessons to be learned from there.
Yes. If you look at the UK, obviously is kind of like a single provider, single payer market, and yeah, the NHS isn't one organisation, but it's somehow joined up. But even if you look at, I did a lot of work in Australia around their EHR, so their PECA health single health record, and in America as well. This is where the kind of common messages and common standings around, sharing information, the privacy and security around that, etc., etc. It's complex, but actually, I think a lot of the hard graft has been done by the health insurance, and there's certainly a lot of learnings and assets that we could easily take into the kind of wider general and life insurance, actually, in the UK and globally.
That's really interesting to hear. Obviously, your background in healthcare and what you know about that, I think there's a lot we can learn in especially the wider market here especially in the UK, where obviously health insurance is a bit different.
Yeah.
So it's been great hearing about the product and everything, what you're working on. It's great to have someone else coming into the market with some outside ideas. If we've got any members that want to get in contact with yourselves, what's the best way to do so?
I think the best way, Mark, I don't know if you could roll off a number, but
it's probably best by email, and if we can provide my mobile number or Adrian's mobile number if there's an urgent inquiry, but certainly email is probably the best, which is mark.clark@jumar-technology.com. That's Clark without an E.
And if anyone wants to talk technology, integration, whatever subject, I'm on LinkedIn. Just reach out to me under my name, and I'm always happy to share notes and collaborate on anything which is interesting. Basically.
Well, Adrian, we've actually got our CTO forum, which is a Slack group full of all of our CTOs. You're more than welcome to come and join us in there. It's where anyone's got ideas or questions, we try and help each other out.
I'll be there.
And check out our website as well. That's going to be under development very soon. We're just doing a rebranding exercise, so that's going to be all revamped now, ready for our new image, let's say. So Jumar technology will be changing.
Perfect. Look forward to seeing it. Well, I appreciate both your time today. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully you'll both be supporting England tomorrow, and I'll look forward to see you both soon in real life.